Hello, everyone, and welcome to my micro summit, Healing the Wounds from Past Childhood Bullying. And my guest today is Donna McRae, who is a spiritual intuitive and life path coach, helping you to rediscover you through your own unique essence codes. She is also gifted in divine channeled prayer, Reiki, and Infinity Healing. She is a skilled Ancestral Clearing forgiveness practitioner, as well as a VIP Energetics Practitioner. Donna has had the privilege of helping many experience profound releases for personal growth, as well as physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual healing. She looks forward to compassionately supporting you in doing the same. Hello, Donna.
Hey, Cindy. So happy to be here.
I am blessed to have you here. Thank you so much. I love today's topic. And you are in Canada.
I am. I'm in Vancouver, BC, Canada. We got a beautiful sunny day today. And the topic that you've chosen is just so poignant. It's so important. It's just a great message to get out there. So thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. And if a little bright on me, if I could adjust a little bit. Well, there we go. I just scoot back a little bit.
You've got the sunshine too.
Yes. In Oregon, it's usually been rainy, but yeah, we have a lovely day today.
That's lovely.
So our topic today is healing the wounds from childhood bullying through ancestral clearing. First of all, what is ancestral clearing?
That's a great question, Cindy. A lot of people don't know it, but the way I like to think of ancestral clearing, it's all about awakening ourselves, to who we truly are. It's about resolving or clearing, if you will, whatever limits us in the moment. It's like that old stuff that lives in our body and our nervous system that just keeps us stuck. So with ancestral clearing, we very, very briefly tune into a time. So we're not going to stay in that moment and marinate in what happened and everything, but we very briefly tune into it. And although we may not have a conscious memory of what happened at that time, we're looking for a vision, a thought, or a memory, and it literally just pops in, and it's this memory, this vision, or this thought that helps us get to the root cause of what might be holding us back in any avenue of life. And it helps us to unhook, if you will, from what's keeping us, keeping the good stuff at bay, keeping it out there instead of within us here, which is what we all want. And, it really doesn't matter what area of your life you'd like to clear or to improve. It could be greater health, it could be more loving relationships, or it could be success. It doesn't make any difference. The issue is not what matters here. The issue matters not at all. And usually what I find is they're all intertwined together anyway. We just simply need to briefly feel it, feel into it. We need to accept that it happened. We need to acknowledge that it happened. And when I say all these three things, that happens so quickly, like within a matter of seconds, right? We're not sitting in it. And it's from there that we own where we are in this moment. And in doing so, it opens up for the higher intelligence within us to show us a different avenue, a different way, to show us where it is that we want to go. So it's really very simple and it's very quick.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, while our viewers are pondering what you just said, I'm going to fix my screen right behind me, so give me just a second.
Of course, I'll take some water.
There we go. Oh, that's wonderful. So is ancestral clearing important in clearing childhood bullying? Any past wounds, especially bullying, being bullied?
Yeah, absolutely, Cindy. I believe it's a very fundamental part. By the time we're 8 or 10 years old, and I guess for some, sometimes as young as 5, our belief system contains deeply encoded, beliefs based on memories on just about any issue. And hundreds of issues, right? It's like we have this little file system within us And okay, what's coming up today? What are we going to look at today? So these belief systems that we carry can have a huge, and what I've found to be true, sometimes a very paralyzing impact on our lives. You know, a good majority, I would say, of our belief systems, they didn't originate with us. You know, we picked them up along the way from our parents, from our teachers, for religious leaders, and in particular now, or the media for so long, but now social media, right? It's just rampant. It's just like, I think that oftentimes young people, and even people my age, of course, they don't really even know what to believe or what to think, because there's so much information being bombarded at them. But especially when they're very young, they're just like little sponges. They take everything in, right? So by the time they end up to be 8 or 10 years old, they've got this file folder full of memories. And which one is really theirs, though? Which one is their true beliefs and everything, right?
Right.
Yeah. So along with that, we also carry within us what I call trauma memories. And what I mean by trauma memories is this: it's like we're seeing, you know, maybe we were out somewhere 10 years ago, last week, doesn't matter when, we saw something very traumatic, or we saw something on TV very traumatic, or we experienced something traumatic. So these memories, they're now what we call cellular memories, right? They're within us, they're a part of us. So when we see anything traumatic, it kicks the body into a reactive mode. So logical thinking that we might think that we're pretty good at, it's gone in that moment. We're just simply responding to this trauma memory. And that is whether the memory is from our life, or if it's somewhere in our lineage. It doesn't really matter. If it's in our lineage, it's here for us to heal in this lifetime. So really, it could be from eons back. And it's all very unconscious. We're not consciously aware that it's there at all. Now, for some of us, this memory may just simply show itself as, oh, okay, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. However, my experience is, in general, in society, there are so many people nowadays who are so quick to anger. And some of them, they really, even though they have that anger trigger, they don't often know where it's coming from. They don't understand why. They just know that they've had this trigger, this anger trigger, for what seems for them like forever. So why is this? Well, everything that has ever happened to us is recorded, like I said earlier, in our nervous system. And some of these happenings we remember, and some of them we don't. And the ones we don't remember, again, we'll call them unconscious memories. And these unconscious memories are what Dr. Bruce Lipton refers to as a wrong belief. And this wrong belief causes us to experience fear for no apparent reason. And what is fear? False evidence appearing real. It's not true. It's just this energy that comes within us, and it's like crippling. It's like, you know, it stops us, right? Just stops us in our tracks. So why would you think that this is important in clearing the wounds from childhood bullying? Well, many of the subconscious memories, like I said, don't belong to us. And I like to refer to them again as cellular memories. And all of us, no matter how our lives are playing out, we all inherited cellular memories from our parents, and our parents from their parents, and on and on and on. Again, it goes back eons. So this being the case, it stands to reason that most of us, if not all of us, carry within us memories of our great grandparents, and then everyone in between. So I know that this can be very, very mind-boggling. It certainly was for me in the beginning. However, when you really think of it, we can just narrow it down to be very easy to consume, and I'll do it this way, if I may. These cellular memories, they're passed down through our DNA, like through our lineage. And this was scientifically proven many years ago, and was given the name of epigenetics. And they are kind of like, I had someone tell me once that they're kind of like little piggybacks that attach to your DNA. And I caught on to that. I thought that's a great way to say it. They're little piggybacks that have held onto our DNA. And these piggybacks, if you will, they carry all of the unresolved issues from our lineage. So if our great, great, great grandfather was bullied, and the causes or the hurts from this were not resolved in his lifetime, it could be that they are now here for you to resolve in this lifetime. So maybe that's why you are being bullied, if that's the case. And the same can be true for the bully as well. So if way back in his or her lineage, he or she was a bully, it could also be that you are carrying that in this lifetime. Because whether you're the bullier or the bully, though, those energies do need to be released and healed.
Wow. Well, who can be affected by this?
Oh, wow. I would say any one of us, really. You know, these cellular memories, they come in such a wide range. You know, I like to call them the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will. And these cellular memories can quite literally wreak havoc on our lives, you know, causing unwanted thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. I mean, how often do we go about our lives and our days and go, hey, why am I regurgitating this again? Why? Things are good right now. Why am I ruminating in my mind about what he or she did like last week or last year or 20 years ago? I mean, goodness sakes, it's time to let go of it, right? And sometimes they can come in the strangest of ways. How will I say it? There's one client I can remember. She had such bad, deep feelings of not being good enough and not lovable. And when we worked together, it came up when we went back into, you know, feeling into that moment that she saw herself playing with her sister at a very young age, maybe around 4 years old. And they were having a great time, you know, just doing little girl stuff. And then mom comes out and offers her sister a cookie, but she didn't get one. And mom wasn't being mean or anything. Mom just said, well, your sister ate her lunch, so now she gets her dessert. So if you eat a good lunch, then you can have one too. So you might ask here, was the mother wrong in doing this? I hope not, because I certainly had my children eat their meal before they got their dessert. However, what this did to the 4-year-old mind, who she can't logically go, okay, well, I didn't eat my dinner or my lunch, so now I don't get a cookie. No, what that did to her little mind is, mom doesn't love me. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to get this cookie. So what do I have to do to prove that I'm okay, right? So these feelings that my client had, the memories of, they were living in her unconscious, and she didn't even know that it was there. And she had such a difficult, trying relationship with her mother. So that now she was able to go in there and clear that. Not only as her life shifted and changed in really quite lovely ways, but now she's also beginning to heal the relationship with her mother. So it's coming, you know, it's coming around, because the mother had no idea either, like why all of a sudden my lovely little daughter is now so wanting to stand back, right? She didn't understand. And we don't, I think, as parents. We just do the best we can, but we have no idea sometimes that the way we say and share things with our children, especially young ones, they can take it in such a deep level, and it stays there, it sticks. And then maybe when they get to be 14, 15 years old, well, oh, heck breaks loose, and whoa, maybe why? Maybe why? Well, what did I do when they were little?
Yeah, that's why we call it the terrible twos in the teenage years.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, we've all done something like that in our lives, I'm sure. But it just kind of explains why these crazy beliefs we have about ourselves, you know, because when she felt, why is she not good enough? Well, why wouldn't she be good enough? She's good enough because she's just here. She's who she is. But in her unconscious, in the cellular memory, it's stopping her from doing anything that she really longs to do and wants to do.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
He.
No, it's interesting. So it's resonating. I'm understanding. That's beautiful. But Donna, why do some of us become bullies and some don't?
Oh, wow. Well, Cindy, I would say it's fairly safe to say that a good majority of us walk around, whether consciously or unconsciously, with feelings and thoughts, what we just talked about, of not being good enough on one level or another, right? I mean, I don't know anybody really that has a 100%. I am just wonderful in every avenue of my life. There's some avenue of our life, every area of our life, that we have some issues about, right? And some of us feel this way throughout our entire lifetimes, our entire lives, I should say. Pardon me. And not just with one area of life, but with the whole gamut. A lot of us do, right? And then there's those of us who not only, have these feelings of not being good enough, but we're also triggered very easily to anger, which oftentimes, not knowing where this anger is coming from. Like, they know that they feel this anger inside, that the situation does not justify this anger, but it's there and it's going to come out in one way or another. It's going to come out. Now, if not, this anger builds and builds, often to the point where it explodes. It explodes on a loved one, or it explodes to some innocent bystander. I mean, we've all heard of road rage, right? Maybe some of us have seen it. Maybe some of us have not. It doesn't make any sense to those of us who don't, partake in that. But we acknowledge that it's real. It's there, right? Road rage is a huge issue. It's also another kind of form of bullying, right? You're just, whomever is in that state, they are bullying somebody who's just feeling very fearful for their life in that moment. And now a great deal of this anger and pain, I would say, can come from our childhood, some of the memories we remember and some that we've blocked, but are still in our subconscious. And others, though, they might not even again belong to us. They might have been passed down to us through our lineage, and now it's here for us to deal with in our lifetime. So now, for the question on why do some, of us become bullies and some of us do not, I feel it's in our energy field. It's either, it's from those little piggybacks attached to our DNA, what we need to heal, what we don't need to heal, and what we actually need to experience in this life. So, they don't have that trigger, that deep-seated anger that wants to be expressed in that way if you're not a bully. And that's not to say, though, that, they're free and clear of any anger and sadness, because, we're human, first of all, right? And there's all little different areas, different levels and layers of clearing to always do in our lifetime.
Yeah. And what we experience in this lifetime, we can turn them around as learning opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because really we are a product of our past, right? Everything that we've ever gone through, every experience, every learning, it has helped us to become who we are right now. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, Donna, I think one of the toughest healings that we will ever do in our lifetime can be what I call the silent wounds. Oh. And I mean, what the meaning about that is about the silent wounds. We're aware of the wounds in the past, but we've never said anything or given them voice. Or there are silent wounds where, like you mentioned earlier, the subconscious knows the wounds, but consciously we are unaware of them. Or a very young child watching a war movie or a horror movie, they can't distinguish what's real and what's just on TV and it's play. And that could present some fear. Or the wounds where a teenager is watching parents fight or seeing a parent in distress financially. And so these are silent wounds. Can these be healed also?
Absolutely. And that's a great topic, actually, Cindy, that great question. Because the silent wounds, I think, are the most deadly, because we don't even know they're there, right? I mean, it could be, like you said, a young child watching a war movie or a horror movie. Can you imagine what that does to a 3 or 4-year-old? Because they don't, like you said, they can't decipher from whether it's real or imagined. It's just they're experiencing, and they're experiencing that fear, and that becomes a wound within themselves, and they carry that throughout their whole life. And so, yeah, tapping into the quick moment of your vision, thought, or memory, this trauma allows itself to be shown and then released. And, you know, I feel that the silent wounds also can come as far back as, you know, in, of course, through your lineage, but it can be in the womb too, right? Maybe mom wasn't sure if she wanted to really have this pregnancy, but she is. And so you're marinating, if you will, for 9 months in this, all these thoughts and emotions, and maybe mom and dad are fighting during this time, and there's a lot of worries about finances and how they're going to cope and do all this. And so you're kind of going, okay, well, this is not what I signed up for. And of course, it's also foreign to you that you can't understand all that's going on, just like a young child, right? Watching a movie. Yes, they're here and they're 3 or 4 or 5, but they're still very young and very impressionable. So they don't understand that. And neither does this baby growing in the womb. They just know the feelings and the emotions that they're experiencing, and the hurts and the wounds can begin then, you know. It's very hard when you think of it that way. And then there are so many of us, you know, that even as young as a toddler, we're taught that we can be seen but not heard. Okay, so we're not allowed to use our voice. We need to keep that voice silent. And then for the some of us who very sadly were taught that they should neither be seen either. So they're not to be seen and they're not to be heard. And so these very unfortunate souls were taught that, what are they taught? They're taught that they're not important, that they don't matter. Those words maybe were never said to them, but what are we actually conveying to a child when we say, I don't want to hear you, and I don't want to see you either. So just go off and play, go. So in other words, I'm not important, and I'm just kind of taking up space. So that's very hard. And so we when we're not allowed to speak, we stuff it down, because those thoughts and emotions are not allowed to come out. So for many of us, when we're told we're told this, of course, we're not able to use our voice, and then the anger builds. And then if you add not being able to be seen to the mix, we end up totally suffering in silence, you know, growing up feeling unlovable and unwanted. And that's where the thoughts that a lot of people carry with them, I'm not good enough, comes from, right? Because if my own parents didn't want to see me or hear me, then how is anybody else going to ever want to see or hear me? Like, what can I actually give to society that's going to be profound and make a difference? Now, as we said, these wounds, these scars, if you will, they can develop in the womb. They can come through your lineage. And it can also just be any toxic emotions that are around you constantly. Like you said, but the TV, it could be a young child listening to the news. You know, just the news in itself is very traumatic at times, right? So they're unable to decipher the what's real and what's not. So they're very impressionable. And I think it's hard sometimes, because we don't always, these young people are not actually given their innocence for as long as they should have their innocence.
Yes. That helps me understand not to be so judgmental others, because, you know, I haven't walked in their shoes. I don't understand what they have grown up with, or what's in their past, or what they're dealing with in the present. So yes, this helps put things in perspective, so we're not so judgmental with others.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part. And it's also important when you think of the bullying too, Cindy, I believe, because we, like you said, we have to walk in somebody else's shoes before we know what they're going through. We all have stuff. You know, some carry a lot more, some have a lot more burdens on their shoulders in the moment, but we all have it. So why not smile at people? Why not be kind? Why not, instead of judging, well, I wouldn't have done that or this or that. Okay, well, what happened to he or she earlier today? Like, what actually happened before that happened? You know, if somebody budges in line in the grocery store, okay, maybe that doesn't make us happy and maybe it shouldn't happen, but what actually is happening in that person's life? So I think when we look at it that way, we can kind of turn around and kind of go, okay, well, we all have our baggage. We've all got stuff that we're dealing with on a daily basis. So how can we shift it and change it so that, you know, maybe just that smile to that person can actually maybe change the trajectory of their day.
Wow. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt anyway, right?
Right. Donna, can you share the benefits of some of your clients have received from this work?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Cindy. One client that she'll always stick out in my mind, and I'll call her Sarah for privacy reasons. When she came to me, just a year prior, she had attempted suicide. And she was found by her boyfriend and, of course, brought to the hospital. And through that year, when that attempted suicide happened and then she saw me, she had seen many different, she saw healers, she saw therapists, she saw psychiatrists. But she couldn't find some kind of, she didn't know what was going on because her depression, her anxiety, her dark cloud that was constantly around her, and her tears just didn't let up. And when we only worked one session together, but I'll never forget her because she cried pretty much the whole hour. We were on Zoom, so I could see her. And by the end of the time together, her appearance changed. She did not have the tears anymore, and she was actually smiling a bit, right? So we only worked the one time together, and I spoke with her about 6 months later, and she her life has turned like, well, she released enough to let go of whatever was holding her back. It's turned around, and yes, she still feels sad at times and gets down, but never to the point of even considering suicide. And this was after one session. So she was able to actually dislodge within her what was actually, you know, making her feel so down, so bad. And she could actually see the light a little bit. So that was awesome. And then I've also had many, many relationships healed, teenagers. I remember this one woman, her teenage daughter just wanted absolutely nothing to do with her, which can be quite common, but this was, I think this was quite extreme. And we had a session together, and then the next day, the daughter was actually with her father at the time. The next day, the daughter came back home, jumped in her mom's arms, wanted to talk to her, sat down with her on the couch, they wanted to watch a movie. That it had just kind of shifted and changed. And so I thought that was pretty profound. And then, you know, narcissistic partners, which that's a pretty big one these days. I get a lot of clients with that. Just no longer being able to plug in, you know, as the energy of that person has changed and shifted so greatly so that they're not able to plug in any longer. It's just sort of, it's almost like they try, but it just sort of pings off. So it's not, so they can't get any satisfaction. So they move, they leave, they go to someone else, which is what we want, right? We want peace. Yeah.
Wow. So also I'm understanding that when we do this work, the ancestral clearing, if we're clearing something up for ourselves, and of course, because we have their DNA, then we're clearing things up for them also, even though they're not present. I mean, it's clearing up the energy.
Yes, absolutely, Cindy, you're spot on there. So if it was like great-great-grandmother Sarah experienced XYZ in their lifetime, and we go back and we know that that's where that comes from, it not only heals her, but it heals the lineage that came after that and yourself as well. And the beautiful part too also is you're also healing your children, because they don't have to carry this, and your grandchildren, they don't have to carry this because it's now gone. So that's the beautiful part of it. And the beautiful part too is just allowing your ancestors to find some peace, right? It doesn't have to be there any longer.
Yes, right. Wow, that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about your free gift, and it's an MP3, and it's forgiveness of self and others, if I'm correct?
That's correct, yes. And I think, honestly, quite honestly, the most important person we ever need to really forgive is ourselves. Same as I always feel that the most important person we need to love is ourselves, because if we don't love ourselves, how can we really love other people as well? And then, of course, forgiveness too, because if we beat up on ourselves and we're always regurgitating in the past, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. So it's releasing that. And then it also releases the forgiveness for others too. And I want to explain what that kind of means. Is it does not give the person who harmed you, it doesn't let them off the hook, right? They don't even need to know that you're forgiving. It's healing you, because when you're holding on to the wounds of whether forgiving yourself or forgiving Tom, Dick, or Harry, whoever did something to you, that's hurting you. They don't even know that you've forgiven them. It's forgiving them. You're offering it up to source, if you will, so that you open up space for the good stuff that you want to have within your life. Yeah.
Wow, wonderful. Okay, good. That's wonderful. I love that. And everyone that is interested in opting or receiving your gift, the link is below. It says opt in if you want the gift, and it'll take them to your contact page where they'll fill out the information. And if you can put in the box that you listened to Donna's call, and she will send you the free gift. So.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing from a lot of you, because that's quite powerful work. Yeah, powerful work.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And I have to say that I loved your Divine Channel prayers. I've heard them. I'm familiar with your work, and it's beautiful. You're doing a great job helping others all over the world heal. And Donna, I appreciate you very much taking the time to share your wisdom and your gifts with us. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, I just want to say thank you very much for having me. This is, like I say, a very profound topic, and I want to thank everyone else who's listening to this, because when we actually all absorb it, and we can also just focus in on that, that's exactly what we need to do. Focus in on healing the wounds, even if it's just in our energetic field, because it does help, right? And passing that smile on every time you run into anybody. Open a door for somebody to smile, because you never know how you're going to help their day. And yeah, any part of healing the wounds of bullying is wonderful.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And God bless you.
God bless you, hon. Thank you.
All right, well, we'll close for now, and the replay is up for a while, so you can re-listen to it again. And please, if you know anybody that can benefit from this work also, and this information, please share it along. And thank you once again for joining us, and hope to see you again soon.